Hello again everyone, welcome back to another video on this wonderful platform we call the internet. Now this is a bit more of a different video to usual, so I just made a last minute decision to do a video reviewing the Ferrari movie because, well, why not? And do enjoy the background gameplay. I decided to use a Ferrari for such an occasion, so yeah, so right from the bat, I'm just gonna say that this movie was pretty okay. I mean, well, actually, that's better than saying it was pretty good. It's not really a bias, because I did have a bit more expectations for it that weren't met, but apart from that, I did like it. So it was a bit slower paced than usual. It's not exactly a bad thing. They're saying it's a bit more slower paced than what I'm used to, especially if I compare it with, let's say, Ford vs Ferrari. It's it's more slower paced than Ford vs Ferrari, and it has a bit more of a slow build up towards all these tensions and whatnot, and conflicts between characters and stuff. So yeah, I mean, I had a feeling it was going to be kind of more slower paced than Ford vs Ferrari, but not as much as it was. Once again, not saying that's a bad thing about it, just different to what I know from Ford vs Ferrari, where it's a bit more faster paced. Because, yeah, probably because once again, Ford vs Ferrari is more action focused and all that, and about rivalry and all that. As for with the Ferrari movie, it's a bit more personalised, I guess you could say, about Ferrari himself and his company and his family and stuff like that. So it's not really till the end where it starts to really heat up, I guess you could say, with the final race. Well, I forgot what it was called. It was it's basically like a cross-country race across Italy or something, or across part of Italy, I think. So yeah. So story-wise, it was actually pretty okay, different to what I thought it would be. So yeah, it's a bit more along the lines of like the Lamborghini movie that came out a year or two ago as well, where it's more personal focused, or whatever, I guess you could say, if that makes sense. So yeah, now I guess, and towards the end, the movie actually took a very unexpected dark turn, I must say, where there was a crash and people actually got hit, and I honestly was not expecting it to get that graphic, despite what type of movie it is. I was not expecting it to actually show such a thing and actually take such a dark turn. So that actually exceeded my expectations, or subverted them, or whatever, because I actually was not expecting such a thing. I mean, sure, the crash was in the trailer, but I wasn't expecting it to actually show the car hitting people and stuff, and showing all that dismemberment and all that. So honestly, props to them for that, because I mean, yeah, that was a pretty bad incident back then, and well, once again, I was not expecting it to actually show people actually getting hit, and once again take such a dark turn. But of course, so it's only in like the last 15, 20 or so minutes of the movie, so yeah. And now, of course, with the character performance and all that, Adam Driver was actually pretty convincing as Enzo Ferrari, like with all the prosthetics and being able to create the accent and all that. It was, yeah, pretty damn good, I must say. And yeah, like with all the prosthetics and wig and whatnot and makeup and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, I mean, once again, personally, not saying this is a bad thing, of course, but I'm a bit too, after about 4 to 5 years of watching Ford vs Ferrari, I'm a bit too used to the actor that played Enzo in Ford vs Ferrari being Ferrari than Adam Driver, or the other guy in or the other one who played as Enzo Ferrari in the Lamborghini movie. So yeah, Of course, so these are all true stories, no shit. So they are all interconnected. You know what I mean, because they're true stories and all that. Because yeah, and with this movie technically kind of being the first one to take place, it takes place about 9 years before Ford vs Ferrari, and a bit after and during the Lamborghini movie, because the Lamborghini movie technically starts during World War Two, well, the end of World War Two, all the way through to the 80s and 90s, and Ford vs Ferrari is in the mid 60s, so yeah. And then this one is set in the good old days of 1957, so yeah, this one's kind of in between. Yeah, so it's 9 years before Ford vs Ferrari, a bit after, a bit of during Lamborghini, and about a bit under 60 years before Gran Turismo. So yeah, and about 15 years before Rush, and then once again a bit under 60 years before Gran Turismo. So yeah, and yeah, the set designs and all that were pretty good. Like, personally, I kind of like all these old setups and all that, like with movies set during these times, and how even before then, like the 1800s and whatnot, like seeing all the old housing, furniture, vehicles, clothes, and all that sort of stuff kind of amazes me. And like with most movies set during these periods, they don't really disappoint. Surprisingly, even bad movies that are set in during these times don't disappoint with that either. But yeah. Now, once again, last but not least, actor performance. Once again, Adam Driver did a pretty good job. And then there's also Penelope Cruz, who plays as his wife or ex-wife. I don't even think they're divorced, they're actually still married, well, during that time. So yeah, so she plays as his absolutely nutty wife. Well, she's not really nutty, she's just, personally I just think she's very unhinged, and I get Salma Hayek from Hitman's Bodyguard vibes, to be honest. So yeah, that's all it can remind me of, in a good way, of course. Not saying it's a bad thing, but they did do a good job and all that. So yeah, and whatnot. And then last but not least, with some special effects. There's only really special effects during the 2 or 3 car crashes, and once it was pointed out in the trailers, I could not unsee it. And I must agree that it does look a bit janky and stuff. Not in the effects themselves, but not in the special effects themselves, but more so in the physics of when the cars actually crash, especially that one where towards the end where the car crashes and hits people, but not that bit, but when it goes flying in the air and then hits the power pole and stuff. So yeah, so they kind of was hoping that between the official trailer and release it could have been fixed, or have the release improved just a bit, but it's not like it's a thing that you can see unless you're told. Well, at least that's the way I saw it, because I didn't even notice until I read the comments pointing it out. So yeah, and apart from that, though, the effects themselves were pretty decent, but it was just the physics of when the cars crashed that looked a bit off, a bit janky and stiff and stuff. But apart from that, though, once again, the effects themselves were pretty okay. And yeah. So anyway, though, I was kind of hoping, like, how do I say this? So I think this movie didn't entirely meet my expectations in certain ways, but I still really liked watching it and still enjoyed the movie. But once again, it's probably just because I'm too used to the pacing of Ford vs Ferrari and whatnot, because I've been watching that for the past 5 years. Because yeah, and whatnot. So yeah, it's probably the only reason why, because I'm a bit too used to the pacing and whatnot of that movie compared to this one. But once again, that's not really a bad thing. It's just more of my personal thoughts or whatever. So honestly, in the end, I can definitely say that since it's still in cinemas, it only just came out, like, I think the day after my birthday, January 5th it came out, and my birthday was the day before. It is still in cinemas, so I would so I can, with confidence, recommend going and seeing it, because, yeah, so in the end, I do recommend going and seeing it while it's still in cinemas, and yeah, and like with most other movies, I'm definitely going to pick this up on DVD, well, actually Blu-ray or whatever, to be more precise. So, yeah. Anyway, though, thank you for watching. Feel free to like and subscribe if you want to stay tuned for more videos, and I'll see you in the next one.